Chavez, White Sox at Royals, Nova and Duffy, Astros and Angels, Cole and Pena. Looking at that schedule, I got to believe that Clevenger will really pitch well, but I got to believe he's going to be higher priced than Paddock. I don't know. I haven't seen those pay schedules, but I really like Ponce de Leon cheap. If you need a cheap pitcher and want to go with bats, I like that Ponce de Leon tonight in daily. Lou, what do you think? I mean, I know you got a track record with Clevenger and Paddock, but here's my problem with Paddock. I don't know how many innings he's going to pitch. And Clevenger, I like the matchup. I just think he's going to be the most expensive pitcher today in DFS. But if I had to pick two, I'm going to go on the cheap with Ponce de Leon, and I'm going to go on the expensive with Clevenger. That's just me, looking at the daily. So I want to go through a few more prospects with you guys while I got you, and thanks for hanging with me this morning. We talked about Robert. A.J. Puck for the A's, their number 2 prospect, pitched last night for Double-A Midland. 2 innings, struck out 4. It was his best outing of the season. He only faced 6 batters and struck out 4 of those. He threw 15 of 17 pitches for strikes. He's going to come up. He's going to be in that bullpen, and I think the A's are trying to use him in a Josh Hader-type role. So keep your eye on that one. Marlins, Isan Diaz. I told you earlier, Starlin Castro's been hitting around 400 the last 2 weeks. Diaz went 3 for 5 last night. He's their second baseman at AAA. 2 runs scored, a homer. He's their number 6 prospect. Diaz just keeps on hitting. He's at 22 home runs. His second in his last 3 games. He has a 980 OPS with New Orleans, a 306 average, on base of 398. So it's just a matter of time. If they trade Starlin Castro, Isan Diaz will be in Miami this year playing second base for the Marlins. Nico Horner, the number 1 draft pick last year for the Cubs, their number 1 prospect, back off the injured list, went 2 for 5 last night for Double-A Tennessee with a double. He started his career at Double-A, and he was a college player, did not play below Double-A, he got hurt, still at Double-A. He had a great Arizona Fall League. Maybe Lenny saw him there last year. He had a 290 average so far in an injury-plagued season. Nico Horner, a shortstop. Don't you know the Cubs are loving that? Nolan Gorman for the Cardinals, their number 1 prospect, went 3 for 5 last night with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs for Class A Advanced Palm Beach. After starting slow in the Florida State League, hitting just 179 over his first 8 games, the 19-year-old has a 310 average with 7 extra base hits over his past 14 games. That includes an active 6-game hitting streak. And during that active 6-game hitting streak, he's batting .440. That's 11 for 25 with 2 homers and 12 RBIs. Dynasty players, do you own Nolan Gorman? Do you want to? Seems like he's found something and he's turning it on. Just one more and I'll move on. Gavin Lux for the Dodgers, number 2 prospect, went 4 for 5 last night for AAA Oklahoma City with a homer and 2 RBIs. And Will Smith, their number 4 prospect, went 2 for 5 as well with 2 homers and 7 RBIs. Just touching on them quickly, these are 2 of the Dodgers' top prospects playing both for Oklahoma City and AAA. They beat Iowa 13-4. Smith did his damage early. He drove in a career-high 7 runs through 3 innings. He's 24 years old. He's been up for a cup of coffee this year. The 2-homer game was Smith's 3rd of the year and brought his home run total to 18. So he's had 3 2-homer games, and he's got 18 on the year. Lux, he's been red hot at the plate. He's 21. He's in the middle of a 14-game hit streak. He's homered in 3 straight games, and he's hitting .500 through 13 games at the AAA level. Now, those are players, a lot of those could be Major League ready, could be trade chips in some trades coming up. So keep your eyes open and your ears cleared. You never know. Let's talk about some daily players today. Once again, some hitters. Unholy says goodbye, Addison Russell. So true. If it's not him, it's going to be someone else, you know. And don't you know the Cubs would just love to trade Addison Russell? Unholy. Don't you know? The Mets are at the Twins today. Looking at hitters, Nelly Cruz is 12 for 33 in his career with 5 home runs off of Jason Vargas. So if you are a daily player and you don't buy into Nelly Cruz, then I've got to question your mentality today. You got to go get Nelly Cruz at home against Jason Vargas. Again, a 364 average with 5 homers in 42 career plate appearances. Going down the list, somebody you don't want today, if you give much credence to history, Robinson Cano historically against Martin Perez is only 7 for 37. That's a 189 average with no home runs. The Pirates are at the Cardinals today. Dexter Fowler is hitting 308 in his career off of Chris Archer. And Matt Wieters at catcher, if he starts, could be a great pickup, cheap. He's 7 for 26 in his career, a 269 average off of Chris Archer. Moving forward, the Braves are at the Brewers. Trying to make sure I give you some credible numbers here. Lorenzo Cain is 5 for 17 in his career off of Dallas Keuchel with a homer. That's a 294 average. For Atlanta against Chase Anderson, Freddie Freeman is 4 for 12 with a homer. That's a 333 average. Cincinnati's at the Cubs. Here's one you don't want to start. Sonny Gray's pitching for the Reds. Jason Hayward is 1 for 11 in his career off of Sonny Gray. And Sonny Gray's been pitching really well of late. In fact, the Cubs don't hit Gray well at all. Total Cub player statistics in their career against Sonny Gray, they are 8 for 48. That's a 167 average. I'm not sure how the wind's blowing today in Chicago, but I do know Sonny Gray's had a great history against the Cubs. Okay? For Cincinnati against Yu Darvish, Joey Votto, 4 for 14 his career off of Darvish. That's a 286 average. And I know it's only this year, but so far this year, Nick Senzel has seen Yu Darvish 7 times, and he's got 3 hits. That's a 429 clip, but that's just this year. But that's what he has seen so far. The Giants are in Colorado again. John Gray pitching for Colorado. San Francisco bats. Brandon Belt leading off. He's 4 for 14 off of Gray. It's a 286 average. Joe Panik's 4 for 14 off of Gray. Brandon Crawford 4 for 13 off of Gray. Those are 3 bats that have hit during this series. And since they're still in Colorado, I think Belt, Crawford, Panik could all be cheap daily pickups today if you're playing DFS. It is sunny and gray in Chicago today. That's exactly right. Seattle's at Oakland. Don't really have a lot there to give you numbers-wise other than D. Gordon, if he plays, 5 for 14 off of Homer Bailey. That's a 357 average. And Domingo Santana is 5 for 14. That's a 267 average. Yankees and Rays, Chirinos and Domingo Germán. I'm looking here. Numbers are below 10 at bats on a few of these guys, but I'll give you a few anyway. Luke Voigt is 4 for 7 off of Chirinos. Urshela 3 for 4. That's a very small sample, guys. I don't put a lot of weight on that. Brett Gardner's 2 for 13. That's a 154 average. Not so well. Didi's only got 1 hit, and Gleyber Torres only 1 hit. Chirinos pitches fairly well against the Yankees, so I don't think we'll have a lot of runs scored today in New York. Of course, I say that, and it'll be 10-9. Germán against the Rays, again, no sample sizes more than 7 at bats, so we'll just skip that. The Dodgers are in Philly. Kenta Maeda against Nick Pivetta. The Philly batters against Maeda, JT Realmuto is hitting 364, 4 for 11, and he has 2 home runs. So I like JT if he's playing today. Cesar Hernandez, 4 for 13 off of Maeda, that's a 308 average. Segura, 6 for 20, that's a 300 average. Not much else to look at there, and I don't have enough Dodger sample size to really give much analysis on that one. The Tigers are in Cleveland. Clevenger pitching for Cleveland, and here's why I like Clevenger. Collectively, Detroit is 8 for 56, 143 average off of Clevenger with only 1 home run. They just don't hit him. Miguel Cabrera, 2 for 15. That's a 133 average. Nicholas Castellanos, 2 for 16. That's a 125 average. And remember, last night Detroit was only able to muster one hit through 9 innings. So there was questions earlier about daily fantasy. I like Clevenger as one of my pitchers. If it's a 2-pitcher league, I like Clevenger. And I like Ponce de Leon tonight for St. Louis. Toronto's at Boston. Aaron Sanchez and Eduardo Rodriguez. I got a few here for you. Jackie Bradley Jr. is 5 for 18, as is Andrew Benintendi against Aaron Sanchez. Career-wise, that's 278 averages. J.D. Martinez is 6 for 21, a 286 average. Xander Bogaerts only 10 for 37, 270, and it drops off from there. As far as Blue Jays against Rodriguez, Lourdes Gurriel has 4 hits and 9 at-bats. That's a 444 average, and that's really the best thing Toronto has going. For the, let's see, I'm looking at San Diego now, and and Paddock pitching for them. Trevor Richards pitching against the Padres today for the Marlins. No stats there significant as I'm looking down the list. Arizona's at Texas. Logan Forsythe is 5 for 11 in his career off of Robbie Ray. That's a 455 average. Hunter Pence off the IL yesterday went hitless, but he is 7 for 18 in his career off of Robbie Ray. That's a 389 average. So you may want to go with Pence today. He's probably a little cheaper in DFS because he's coming off of that injured list. Chicago's at Kansas City. Alex Gordon is 5 for 14 in his career off of Ivan Nova. That's a 267 average. Against Danny Duffy, here you go. Jose Abreu, 17 for 53. That's a 321 average. Yolmer Sanchez, 11 for 34. That's a 324 average. Lurie Garcia, 6 for 21, 286. James McCann, 7 for 26. That's a 269 average. So it appears that the White Sox touch up Danny Duffy pretty well, and you may want to go with some of those guys today in daily. Finally, the Astros are at the Angels. It's Garrett Cole against Felix Pena. No real good stats to give you against Felix Pena. He's basically been a reliever, but I will say Brantley, in 5 at-bats, he has not gotten him out yet. And Brantley does have a home run. In 7 well, that's not right. Yeah, he's not gotten him out yet. So, take a chance with Michael Brantley. The Angel batters against Garrett Cole. Justin Upman is 6 for 19 in his career with a homer. That's his 316 average. Andrelton Simmons, 5 for 16. That's a 312 average. And Mike Trout, if he plays today, is 5 for 18 with a homer. That's a 278 average off of Garrett Cole. So just some players that you might want to look at in daily fantasy. A lot of information this morning, huh? Tell you, I want to thank you guys for being in the chat room with me today. And your comments, your questions. I hope it's been informative. I've enjoyed it. I love being with you. I believe the rumor has it that the legend Lenny Melnick will be back with you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So, Lenny, I'm looking forward to hearing from you, my friend. I hope you've had a great trip. If you're not back, let me know. I can fill in, but I'd rather hear you, okay? You and Andre have got stories to tell. I'm looking forward to hearing about your trip tomorrow morning. I've already told you about the upcoming shows for today. Support your podcasters. Tomorrow we'll be back with you. Lenny will lead off tomorrow morning at 9. I'm here at 10. And Nothing But Fantasy with Lou and Andre at 11. So it's going to be a fun, fact-filled, informative type morning tomorrow. Go have a great day. There's afternoon baseball. There's nighttime baseball. Enjoy it. Pull for your team. Pick those lineups. Get them put in early. Don't forget. Thank you for being with me on Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports. Have a great day, everybody.